Hey guys, it's Kat, and today I'm going to be talking about my postpartum update. I'm going to call it the 6-week update because that's when this will be posted. It'll be a day after I'm 6 weeks postpartum, but it's actually like 5 and a little less than half weeks. But I had my postpartum checkup today, and that's why I was waiting to film this, because I wanted to wait till I had my postpartum checkup. So I'm going to start from the start. I'm going to be looking off my phone because that's where I put all my notes, and honestly, I could not tell you much about the first couple weeks if I didn't have this. So day one, like the day I had her, I couldn't really walk hardly at all. Like, honestly, for the first 4 or 5 days, I was walking like a sumo wrestler and like kind of just wobbling like that because I was so swollen down there. Yeah, it's pretty bad. They didn't want me to lay like flat on my back because that makes the swelling worse, so I would have to like kind of prop myself up to lay on my side and like put a bunch of pillows between my legs because the swelling was so bad it would hurt to have my legs like closed. That's why I couldn't walk right. Everyone's gonna say this in their postpartum videos, but like the spray bottle that they give you, the dermaplast, the witch hazel pads, all of that, super important. I'd assume they'd give you stool softener. They also gave me Motrin, so that helped with a lot. I don't know that the stool softener did much, but that's because I like cleared my system during labor and delivery, which if you haven't seen that yet, my labor and delivery story will be linked in the eye. There's also a vlog that I'll link in the eye too. Day 2, I was able to lay on my side a lot more. Still had to use the pillows, but I was actually able to lay on my side because before I couldn't like actually fully lay on my side. The things that were the best for me were like the cold packs they gave you in the hospital. The dermaplast ended up not doing much for me, and at first it actually kind of burnt a little. So I didn't really care for the dermaplast until I started healing and it got really itchy, which was like towards the end of week 1. Day 3 is when I was able to come home, and that's when I was first able to actually sit because I could not do anything besides lay on my side. I could not sit up because of how bad the swelling was. Day 4 is when I ran out of the cold packs and the mesh underwear that the hospital gave me to take home, because you're supposed to change it every single time you go to the bathroom, which can also help from preventing an infection, and it helps with the pain. And day 4 is when I got engorged. And then day 5 is when I got my milk supply. I don't really want to talk about breastfeeding much right now. I have an entire video on it, my breastfeeding journey, and I'll link it in the eye. And day 5 is when I could just wear regular pads. And honestly, so everyone said that the bleeding's like the worst period that you'll ever have in your life. Like, that's what it seems like. It's like all the build-up periods that you've missed. But that's not how it was for me. Like, the first 2 days, I would say the bleeding was probably, it might have been as bad as the period, maybe a little bit worse. But then after the first, like, 2 or 3 days, it went down to, like, way less than a period. So, like, I really didn't even need the pads. I used them for the bleeding, but I don't know that I needed a thick pad at least. Day 6 is when the itchiness started getting really bad down there, and it just like itched so bad, like not just by the stitches, but like everything, because the swelling was going down. So the dermaplast and witch hazel pads are what helped with the itching a lot, and then also after I ran out of the cold packs, the witch hazel pads were a lifesaver. A week after she was born, I ended up having to switch pads because I realized those Oys pads that everybody recommends did not work for me at all. They started causing super bad itching. And I looked it up, and apparently a lot of people have that issue. So I recommend the Stay Free pads if you end up having that issue, and now I like those more. So apparently it's something about the way they're weaved. I don't know. And there is a stink bug right on my window. On the outside though. They are everywhere this year. Day 8 is when I finally like took a full shower and like everything, because I had been just taking like sitting in baths because that's what they told me to do, and I had showered in the hospital. Not a full shower either. Like, I didn't wash my hair until like a little over a week after she was born. But I've also heard that a lot of people do that. It's just you're so focused on the baby that like I just didn't have the energy to do it, honestly. Day 9 is when things felt like really tight down there. Like, felt like every time I'd like sit down, it was like stretching and trying to rip open like everything. And that still kind of happens now. It had gone away for a bit, and now it still feels like it's happening, so I don't know. It still feels sore and everything, but not like an insane amount. It's just like kind of annoying more than anything. And it's not like I feel it right now. Like, I can still go about everything normal, but like I wouldn't want anything touching it. Then day 10 is when I got mastitis, which again, breastfeeding video. So yeah, and like everything just kind of got better after I got rid of the mastitis. Some point when I had the mastitis is when the pain and like uncomfort of healing from giving birth kind of just like eased out. And since then, nothing's been crazy. I've been still wearing panty liners because it's not like it's bleeding, but there's this like gross yellow stuff. It's like, I think the 4th stage of the different things. I think there's like different discharge after you have a baby, and I think that's like the 4th, like the last one. I never had an issue with like painful pooping, I guess, because a lot of people after they give birth get like scared to poop or whatever and have issues with it. But I didn't poop till that Saturday though. So she was born on Friday and I pooped that Saturday, I think. Maybe it was Sunday. But it's a little TMI, but like postpartum is TMI, so. I also didn't have issues with like painful pees except for like the first one I took right after I had her, but I'd had a catheter and everything, so I don't really know why it was painful. And it wasn't like super painful, but it just like burnt a little bit. So I was more so scared because everyone said how painful everything was, but it really wasn't that bad. I mean, the swelling for me was probably the worst, and then getting mastitis. Actually, the itching was the worst. Honestly, now, every time I go to poop, it kind of just feels like weird. It's very similar to the pushing you do when you're giving birth, especially if you have the epidural and can't really feel where you're pushing. So, like, I still kind of get, like, weird about pooping. And I get, like, almost some sort of anxiety about it, but it's not, like, anything major. Next part I'm going to talk about is something that's kind of a taboo topic, and I don't really want to talk about it, but I think it's important to, because again, it is such a not talked about thing, but that's postpartum depression. So I got like the baby blues in the hospital, and I thought it was just the baby blues. I was like terrified to leave the hospital. I was so scared that I wouldn't know what to do when I got home. I was like bawling the night before I went home because I didn't want to leave. I was scared. And like then as we were going outside and everything, I was fine. Like the minute we left, I was fine. Got home, I was fine. But I guess I didn't really realize that I still had issues. And then I got mastitis. So I thought that maybe that was the cause of my issues after that, and it just kept on going on. And I'm not going to talk about it too much because I'm not entirely comfortable talking about it yet. But the issues continued. They say that people around you notice before you do, and that's true. At least for me it was. Everyone was saying that like I needed to talk to the doctor, I was like, let me just give it another week, and then in another week, I was like, and finally got to the point where I was like, and then finally when I realized, hey, I really need some help, it was like a couple days before my appointment, so I just waited, and so I'm okay, but I am going on some medicine. They're going to kind of like ease me onto it and like watch it. And I'm going to be going in 2 weeks and then again in 4 weeks. And she wants me to see a counselor, which I've seen one many times in my life. So if you are someone who has struggled with postpartum depression or has postpartum depression, I just want you to know that you are not alone, and how you feel is not uncommon. I won't say normal because you do need to get some help with it, but it's okay to need help. It's okay to ask for help, and I should take my own advice, but don't beat yourself up about it, and do get help. If you can get help, because it's only going to get worse if you don't get some sort of help. Now, I'm not saying you have to go to a counselor. I'm not saying you have to get medicine, but do something. Sometimes exercise is the solution for some people. I know for my mom, that's how she deals with a lot of her issues. And I know some people really do need the medicine to boost them. I know it made me feel like a bad mother because I was struggling with the issues that I was struggling with, but you're not. Because if you care to fix them, you're not a bad mom because you're doing what's best for you and your baby, and it happened. I know I was scared about a lot. I felt just so much. I had so many issues. Still do. I shouldn't say I feel much better because I haven't even started anything, but even just talking about it has made me feel a little bit better Like, I've talked to people closer to me, and by people, I mean Lee. Honestly, other than my midwife and Lee, and now my mom, you guys are the first ones to know. But I don't really talk to anybody about it either. Honestly, it was just like a day or so ago that I realized that I had such bad issues. Like, I kind of realized it before then, but then, like, finally accepted it was, like, Sunday morning, so, like, 3 in the morning. Oh, and if you're wanting to know an update on my baby, I just posted her 1-month update. I'll link that in the eye. That's about it. There wasn't a lot to say. If you have any questions or anything, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.